The shelter was still that morning. Fluorescent lights buzzed above like tired ghosts, and the soft, steady drip of a leaky pipe echoed through the concrete hall. In kennel 14, a German shepherd lay curled so tightly into himself he barely cast a shadow, as if willing his body to vanish into the floor. His ribs stretched sharp beneath his thinning coat, patches of fur gone like forgotten stories. His eyes, once bright perhaps, were now sunken and empty, staring through the wall like it wasn't there. They called him Rex, but the name floated past him like dust in the air. He never moved when it was spoken, never looked up. He had been found wandering alone near a desolate rest stop in southern Colorado. No collar, no chip, no history anyone could trace. Just a ghost on 4 legs. No growls, no barks, no sounds at all. He had shut down completely. Staff whispered theories ears of neglect, possibly abuse. But it didn't matter. Whatever he had endured, one thing was certain: Rex had let go. For over 3 weeks, he refused food unless left entirely alone. He wouldn't walk, wouldn't stand, barely blinked when footsteps passed. Volunteers tried everything gentle. Words, treats, long silences, but none of it reached him. The shelter was overcrowded. Time was running out. At the end of the 3rd week, a red mark appeared next to his name on the board. Behavioral Euthanasia Friday, 3 p.m. One technician murmured to another, "Some dogs survive trauma. But this one, I think he just gave up a long time ago." But fate is rarely neat. And sometimes, just before the final page turns, the story decides to fight back. The call came from across the state. Sophia Barrett was sitting on her porch sipping chamomile tea when her phone buzzed. She almost didn't answer. It had been over a year since her last rescue. The house had been quiet lately, too quiet since her husband passed. Emily, her daughter, still slept upstairs. A house filled with echoes and grief. The voice on the line was familiar. "Sophia, it's Carla from Paw Haven. I know it's been a while, but we've got a tough one. Male German Shepherd. 6 or 7 years old. No ID, malnourished, shut down. Euthanasia scheduled for Friday. No aggression," Carla added. "But he's not there, like he left already." Sophia looked out at the early morning sun draping itself across the trees. Her fingers tightened around the mug. "Can he travel?" A pause. "He's stable, but he hasn't lifted his head in days," Sophia exhaled. "Send me the file." By Thursday afternoon, a shelter van had made its way through winding mountain roads and crossed into Montana. The driver opened the rear hatch and glanced in. Rex lay motionless, unmoving even as the doors creaked open. Getting him into the crate hadn't been difficult. No resistance, no panic. Just the heavy weight of a soul too numb to care. At the Barrett home, gravel crunched under tires as the van pulled into the long, pine-lined driveway. Sophia was already waiting at the porch, arms gently folded, eyes steady. She wasn't expecting transformation. She was offering a chance. Emily stood behind the screen door, loosely hugging her sweater, watching quietly. The van door opened. The crate was slid forward. The shape inside barely shifted. Sophia knelt beside it. "Hi, buddy," she whispered. The same soft cadence she'd used for years with frightened animals. No reaction. The driver offered a sad glance. "He hasn't made a sound since we left." They carried the crate just inside the mudroom. Blankets were already waiting, along with a bowl of fresh water. The door was left closed, but unlocked. The choice would be his. That was the first rule now. Everything on his terms. Emily moved quietly, stepping forward, her eyes searching the dark corners of the crate. She didn't kneel, didn't reach. She simply looked. And for a long moment, everything in the world seemed to hold its breath. And then Rex moved, just his head, slowly, like turning a stone under water. His eyes found hers. No spark, no hope, just a quiet, hollow acknowledgement. A soul too bruised to expect anything good. Emily felt something in her own chest pull tight like grief recognizing itself. That distant, vacant look. She understood. He didn't look away. Neither did she. That night, the crate door remained open. Rex stayed inside. In the morning, the water bowl was half empty. Faint paw prints circled the threshold, then retreated. No food touched, but it was something. Movement. Possibility. Sophia smiled. He's thinking about it. On the third day, he stepped out. Just a few feet. He sniffed the blanket, stared toward the hallway, then turned back inside. It was nothing, and everything. Emily sat nearby, watching without pressure, saying nothing. Just being. That small movement. To her, it was louder than words. The thaw had started. The ghosts were stirring. By the fourth morning, the food bowl was empty, not a crumb left behind. Just clean, silent acceptance. A whisper of trust. Rex stood at the edge of the mudroom, not hiding, not approaching. Watching. Always watching. That night, Emily sat sketching near the back door, pencil scratching softly across the page. Rex lay a few feet away, head on paws, breathing slow, watching. Hand drifted as she reached for an eraser, just a little too close. Rex moved, not with fear. Not to flee, but forward. A careful sniff of her fingertips. Emily froze. Her heart thudded. She didn't flinch. He stayed there, a breath's distance, nose hovering, ears tilted. Then slowly he pulled back. No panic, just enough to feel safe. He had chosen not to disappear. That night, Sophia watched from the hall as Emily gently folded Rex's blanket. Something in her daughter's hands was steadier now. He's trying. Mom, Emily said softly. Sophia's voice wavered. So are you, sweetheart. They were both ghosts in their own ways. But even the most wounded hearts, given patience and space, remember how to beat again. And in the silence of that home, beneath soft pine-filtered light and the weight of unspoken grief, something small and sacred began to grow. Rex was still afraid. But he was here. And he was trying. And for now, that was enough. The first time Rex wagged his tail, it was so slight Emily almost missed it. She had just come downstairs one morning. Hair still a mess from sleep, a piece of toast in one hand. Rex was waiting. Well, not quite waiting, more like existing, in his usual spot by the kitchen doorway. Their eyes met. She murmured a quiet, "Hey, buddy." And for a half second, the tip of his tail moved once, hesitant, like a question. Emily didn't react, didn't reach out, didn't say anything else. But inside, something bloomed. From there things began to change. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly like spring thawing frozen ground. Rex started following Emily from room to room. Not close, just far enough to keep her in sight. Had begun standing by the back door around the same time. Each afternoon, gazing out at the fenced yard, ears perked, not an alarm, but curiosity. One day, Emily left the door ajar. Rex stepped outside. He sniffed every inch of fabrics like it was sacred ground. The grass, the air, the old wooden steps, all new to him. When a breeze picked up and rustled the trees, he froze for a moment, then lowered his head and walked on, slow but deliberate. Sophia watched from the kitchen window, her hand still resting on the sink. It's like he's starting to remember what it feels like to be loved. Emily didn't take her eyes off Rex. Her smile was thoughtful. Or maybe, she said softly, he's just starting to believe it's real. That night, he didn't return to the crate. He stayed by Emily's door, closed, present, as if protecting the only light left in his world. And in the days that followed, that light only grew. And then on a rain-soaked afternoon that felt like the world had exhaled, everything quietly shifted. Outside, the sky had settled into a pale, heavy gray, the kind that seemed to press against the windows rather than just hang above them. Distant thunder rolled low and slow through the hills like a memory approaching. Inside, the house was hushed, the kind of quiet that doesn't ask for anything. Emily sat cross-legged on Felwyn rug in the living room, barefoot, wrapped in her father's old cardigan. Her sketchbook rested on her knees, pencil moving in slow, absent-minded strokes. The scent of rain crept in through the slightly open screen. Door, clean and earthy. Rex was nearby, curled at a distance, his breathing soft and steady. He had learned to rest there near her, but still with space to run if needed to. Then the thunder crack-a-daggin closer. This time, Rex's head lifted, his ears shifted back, his body tensed ever so slightly. Emily looked up, and then he did something that stole her breath. He stood, crossed the floor, and gently pressed his head under her arm. No sound, no demand, just a quiet plea. For a second, she didn't move. His body trembled, not from panic, but from something older, deeper. Like a Pardo-theme remembered what storms meant and what used to follow them. He wasn't asking for comfort. He was reaching forward carefully, like someone who'd been punished before for needing too much. Emily dropped her pencil and moved slowly, rapping. Her arms around him, not tight, just enough to say, "I'm her." And somehow in that quiet moment, he believed her. From that rainy day forward, something shifted, not just in Rex, but in the entire house. He followed Emily more closely now, not out of fear, but trust. He greeted her at the door with a quiet tail wag. In the mornings he waited by her bedroom, ears perked at the sound of her footsteps. At night he curled beside her bed like acquiesced guardian. Sophia noticed that change too. The house that had once shuffled hollow now pulsed with quiet rhythms. The soft thump of paws, echo of laughter from the kitchen, the warmth of shared silence. One afternoon, as Emily tossed a worn tennis ball across the yard, Rex sprinted after it, ears flying, body loose, alive. Hadn't bring it back, but he looked at her, tongue-ling, and barked once. A short, joyful sound that startled Thembeth. Sophia leaned on the porch railing, eyes damp. He's come back to life. Emily watched Rex trot through the grass, the sun lighting his coat angled. "Yeah," she said quietly. "And to think maybe we have too." A few weeks later, a call came from Paw Haven. They'd been following Rex's progress throughout Sophia's quiet updates. Short phone calls, simple emails, careful optimism. "We think he's ready." The coordinator said, "There's an opening at our long-term care sanctuary. He'd have room to run, other dogs to socialize with, full-time behavioral specialist. It's a beautiful place." Sophia thanked her and hung up, hearty. That night at dinner, she brought it up gently. "He's safe there," Sophia said. "He might have entered." Emily didn't answer at first. Rex had wandered over, flopped down by her feet, and placed his head gently on her toes. His eyes drifted shut, content. "I know," she said quietly. "But I think he's already home." Sophia looked at her daughter. Not the girl she'd watched disappear into grief, but Somion steadier now, softer somehow, and stronger too. She picked up her phone, opened the contact, and pressed call. When Carla from Paw Haven answered, Sophia's voice was calm and sure. "We won't be sending him. He's not a case anymore. He's family." From the ground, Rex let out a long, contented sigh. He didn't know. The conversation happening above him. But maybe, in some quiet, unseen way, he'd already made some choice. He had chosen to stay. 2 years later, the house felt different. It wasn't just the sound of paws on the hardwood floors or the toys scattered across the hallway. It was warmth, woven into everything. Laughter in the kitchen, music in the evenings, Quiet mornings shared over coffee and slow walks. Emily was back in school. Sophia spent time at the local shelter, but Rex stayed at the heart of it all, quiet, steady, always near. One evening, as the sun melted behind the trees, Emily sat on the porch steps. Rex lay beside her, head resting on her lap, eyes half closed. She ran her fingers through his fur and whispered, "You brought us back, you know." He didn't move, but she felt it. The soft thump of his tail against the wood. The kind of answer that didn't need words. Sophia joined them a moment later, coffee in hand. The three of them sat together, silent and still, wrapped in golden light. They hadn't just rescued him. They'd made him family. And somewhere along the way, he'd done the same for them. Rex had once been a ghost in Ackage. Now he was the heartbeat of a home.